Good evening, good evening, good evening. How is everybody today? I hope you're having a great day or great night. I guess for me, it is 11:30 here in Tokyo, 11:30 on a Friday night. It is Friday night. I'm not sure what day it is where you are, if you're watching live or on the replay, whatever day it is for you, whatever time it is for you. Hello, how are you? And welcome to today's live lesson. Today, we are going to do a bit of a continuation from yesterday's live. Yesterday, we studied the past tense, but we kind of ended the lesson a bit short. We'll finish that lesson today, and then we will move into the past continuous. So we're going to be doing a couple of lessons today, but they are connected. So it is good to study both of those together. Now, whenever you're watching this lesson, remember, I will always put the document on the screen for you, so you will have something to watch and follow along. If you want a copy of this lesson, just DM me, and I can send you a PDF of this. I will be putting the PDFs in the description fairly soon. I'm just getting that organized. But in the meantime, if you do want a copy, just DM me. You'll find my information on the YouTube channel. Let me get things onto the screen here. We're going to start with yesterday's lesson first. So I'm going to put that up there first. And we'll see kind of what we studied yesterday, and we'll kind of move on from there as well. Now, remember, if anybody's watching the replay as well, you can always be active and answer all the questions in the comment section. I did notice a couple of people answered questions yesterday for me, or this morning from yesterday's live. I will reply to those after today's lesson. So thank you for the messages. All right, I'm just trying to charge my computer. For some reason, my computer is not charging. There we go. Now it's charging. Okay, so yesterday we focused mainly on the past tense. Now, I don't want to go over this beginning part here, but what I do want to go over, which I feel is the most important part of this lesson, is right here. Word power collocation. Word power collocation. I think this is really, really useful. In English, we have a lot of collocations, a lot of phrases that you just have to remember. And a lot of verbs and nouns go together. Now, what I've got here on the screen are 5 very, very common verbs. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger so you can see it easier. But we've got, I'm going to go through each one individually. We've got the verb did, did or do, right? Present tense would be do. Very common verb. Very important that you know this verb and the nouns that go with it. Next, we've got go or went. The past tense is went. Also very common. We've got have, which the past tense is had. We've got see, which the past tense is saw. And then we've got take, which the past tense is took. These 5 verbs are probably 5 of the most common verbs in English. And a lot of activities, a lot of nouns often go with these verbs. And really, the only thing for you to do right now is just memorize these. I want you to memorize these phrases. So whenever you have the verb do, now I've got did as well here as well as past tense. These are 4 common nouns that go with do or did. So you did your homework, you did housework, you did laundry, you did the dishes. I need you to remember these phrases, these collocations. All right, so do homework, do housework, do laundry, do the dishes. You do not need to add any extra prepositions to these phrases. Next, let's look right here. We've got went. Went. Now, went obviously is the past tense of go. Now, anytime we have an ing activity, an action, that means things like shopping, swimming, dancing, we always use the go verb. So here we've got went plus ing. This is a very useful tip. I want you to remember that. Go plus an ing activity. So I've got 3 on the screen. I've got shopping, I've got swimming, and I've got dancing. Now, of course, there are more. You know, it's winter time right now. And in wintertime, a very common activity would be skiing or maybe snowboarding. Okay. Again, we will use go in this situation, or went, because we're practicing the past tense. So I went skiing. I went snowboarding. Right? What's another ing activity? If you travel, if you're traveling, you go to another city, another country, you know, you're going to do things like sightseeing. This will always go with go and went. Now, the next verb we're going to look at here is had. Had. All right. So whenever you use the verb have or had, we've got some very common phrases, common nouns that I've added to it. You had a trip, had a party, had a vacation, had a good time, had a lot of fun. All right. Please remember these phrases. And remember, we're doing past tense. So we're saying had. But this works, of course, with present tense, with future. These are kind of like combination. They're set phrases that you must remember to improve your fluency. Okay. Next, let's look at saw. See and then saw. All right. So you saw a movie. You saw a play. You saw an art exhibition. These will always go together. And the last one here is took or take, of course. So you took a trip, you took a day off, you took a vacation. All right. Again, very, very common phrases. If you want to improve your fluency, if you want to speak a lot faster, a lot quicker, we've got so many phrases here on this screen that you should remember. So this is what I did yesterday, and I thought it was really maybe useful for everybody just to kind of review this today. And I do want to do one exercise. We did a couple of exercises yesterday, and then I gave some homework, but we're going to do them all together again today, and then we're going to move to the new lesson. All right, so let's look. Remember, please remember all of these phrases. If you didn't write them down, you could just take a screenshot of your phone, your tablet, your iPad, your computer, whatever it is, or you know, just pause the video, and you can write everything down. All right, let's look here. I want you to practice. You know, what did you do last weekend? And basically, what I've given you here is I've given you some cues, some words that will help you make a sentence. Now, we did number 1 yesterday. So I'm just going to write the answer down. Whenever you talk about movie, you could say, I saw a movie. That's one option. Another option, and as you can see, we're using saw here. I saw a movie. All right, so it's a phrase we've already studied. I saw a movie. If you wanted a little bit more, I guess, native English speaker like phrase, a lot of times what we will say is I went to a movie. Now, in this situation, I went to a movie. This means I went to a movie theater and watched a movie. So it encompasses all of that. So I went to a movie. This equals I went to the theater and I watched a movie. So this is kind of the short way to say that. So I'm just going to put sort of the equal sign here. Okay. Let's make this a little smaller. There we go. So I went to a movie equals I went to a movie theater and I watched a movie. Now, this is, of course, much too long. I don't want to say all of this. It's too long. So that's why we change it to this. I went to a movie is much easier, much faster, but it has the same meaning. All right, so number 2, if we look at number 2, we've already studied this above as well. All right, so I'm going to slowly move up so I don't get anybody sick, give anyone motion sickness. If you see, we've got laundry already written up here. Laundry is written up here, and it's the do verb. So I did laundry. He did laundry. She did laundry. We did laundry. All right. Now, the next is we actually haven't done. I left these for homework. So let's do them together now. Number 3 is camping. All right. The key word here is I've got ing. Now, remember, I said whenever you have an ing activity, ing action, the verb we always use is go. All right, now go. So here, camping can be a verb, but usually we would say it in the present tense. I am camping. That means right now. So here, my sentence, because it's past tense, I went camping. I went camping. All right, so number 4. Number 4, the information says dog, and then there's park. Dog and park. So for this, what would be your sentence? We have to use this information, dog and park. You don't have to use these words. It's just this information. And I want you to make a sentence. Dog and park. For me, there's two things come to my mind. One is it's my dog and I'm in the park. Or another one would be maybe a dog park. It's a park where you can take your dog so they can run around. But for me, I'll go with the first one. So the first one, I'm going to say I'm in the park with my dog. So I took my dog for a walk. I took my dog for a walk. And then if I wanted to give more information, in the park. I took my dog for a walk in the park. All right, so now we have another phrase that we should remember. I took my dog for a walk in the park. So take, I'm using the verb take. And I've got a walk. A walk here. A walk is a noun. It's not actually the motion of walking. Here, a walk, it means the activity. It means when you go to a park and you go there to get fresh air or maybe get some exercise, that action is called a walk. So this is a noun, it's not a verb. So if we go back up here, we've got take. So I could add one more, took a walk. Took a walk. So we've added a new noun to our verb collocation. All right, number 5. We've got trip to Hawaii. Trip to Hawaii. All right, so we've already seen the word trip in the previous page. So same thing. I see the word trip. I know my verb is going to be take. All right, so the past tense of take is took. So I took a trip to Hawaii. I took a trip to Hawaii. She took a trip to Hawaii. We took a trip to Hawaii. The great thing about the past tense is that every subject will have the same verb form. So I took a trip to Hawaii. So I wish I took a trip to Hawaii, or I wish I was going to take a trip to Hawaii. Supergirl, hello, hello, hello. How are you? How are you doing today? I hope you're having a great day. Thanks for joining. Okay, let's go to number 6, museum. Museum. Now, remember, I'm giving you one example sentence. There could be many possible sentences for all of these situations. So if you have a different sentence, that's fine. You can leave it in the comment section and I'll check. If your sentence has a mistake, I will correct it for you. I always correct everybody's sentences and homework. I always respond to everybody's comments as well. So feel free to leave your answer in the comment section. Now, museum. Museum is the next one. What would we say about a museum? Past tense sentence. A past tense sentence about museum. And we could use the subject I. Now, and remember, if you want to use the word museum, you can, but you don't have to. And I'm going to give you 2 example sentences for this. The first sentence I'm going to give you is, I'm going to use the word museum. All right. Just like I went to a movie. It's the same sentence. It's the same sentence. I could say, I went to a museum. So here, I'm actually going to the actual building, the museum. Now, that's one sentence. Now, again, past tense, I went. We're using the verb go, the past tense of go. Another one that I could make for museum is I saw. Now, I'm not going to say a museum. I would say I saw an art exhibition at a museum. And of course, you could say the specific museum. I saw an art exhibition at the Getty Center. That's my favorite museum, by the way, the Getty Center in Los Angeles. All right, so again, remember art exhibition, we already learned on the previous page, art exhibition, we say saw. We saw an art exhibition, we saw a movie, we saw a play. A play would mean like a Broadway play. All right, number 7, new clothes. New clothes, excuse me. What would a past tense sentence look like for new clothes? And I'll give you a hint. In this one, we are not using one of the 5 verbs that we mentioned already. New clothes. The key word here is new. All right, so if I'm saying new, the sentence I would make here is, I bought some new clothes. I bought some new clothes. All right, so the verb here is buy, And the past tense of buy is bought. All right, good. If that was your answer, great. If you have a different answer, could be good, could be great, could be wrong though. If it's wrong, you'll never know unless you, again, leave it in the comment section. Number 8, dry cleaners. And we're talking about dirty clothes, okay? We're not talking about the clean clothes that the dry cleaners cleaned. We're talking about dirty clothes. All right, so for this one here, this is a really good one here. Whenever you're going to, if you have something, you're going to move it to another destination. If you're moving something to another destination, we are always going to use the verb take. Take. So the past tense of take, which we've already learned, is took. I took my clothes to the dry cleaners. I took my clothes to the dry cleaners. So if you notice in this sentence, I didn't say I took my dirty clothes to the dry cleaners. I didn't put the word dirty because it is a given. It is logical or common sense. If I'm taking clothes to the dry cleaners, there's only one reason. It's to get them cleaned. That means they are dirty. So I don't need to say the word dirty. I took my clothes to the dry cleaners. All right, so last one for this lesson, and then we'll move to the next lesson. Friends. And I'll tell you, we are not using one of the 5 verbs for this, or at least my answer is not using. You could. I saw friends on the weekend. That's a great sentence. If I wanted to use one of those verbs, I could say it. I saw friends on the weekend. Okay, in this situation, this is really great because saw equals met. Okay, equals meet or met in the situation. I saw friends on the weekend. So if you wanted, we could just say I met friends on the weekend. All right, so that's, you got 2 choices here. I like to see saw. I saw friends on the weekend. And it just means met or meet. So we have a lot of verbs in English that have multiple meanings. Get is probably the most common one. You know, get has so many meanings. Have has so many meanings. Now, have usually means possession. Like, for example, you know, I have a cup. But we use have in so many different ways. You know, I had breakfast this morning. I had a drink. You know, I had a headache. Any type of sickness, we use the word have as well. Okay, so that was the past lesson. That's kind of a review of yesterday, plus we kind of finished the lesson. We finished what we started yesterday. If you have any questions about this lesson, just leave it in the comment section. If you can't think of it and you think of it later, just go to the comment section of this video. It'll be archived after I'm done filming the live. You can leave the comment there as well. Anybody who's watching right now on the replay, if you're watching on the replay, if you like the lesson, if you like the learning about English and how to improve your English, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the channel. It would mean a lot. All right, so we're going to move to the next lesson. So I'm going to close this. So if you want that lesson, just let me know. I can get it to you. Caleb, my friend, how are you, buddy? How are things going for you? Are you finished all your tests? You know, Caleb, in Japan as well, it's test season here. Everybody's all stressed out here. Everybody's taking all their tests, and the school year here in Japan ends in March. So it's a little bit different from where I went to school. School year begins in April in Japan, whereas we're, in Canada, where I'm from, in US, our school year begins September. So it's stress time now for everybody here. All right, the next lesson we're going to do today, I'm going to put it onto the screen. Let's share my screen. And we're going to continue with kind of the past. If you looked at the title of our lesson today, it's past and past continuous. Past and past continuous. All right, so it's a continuation of past. We're just expanding. We're making it a little bit more complex now. Past continuous is a little bit more difficult than past, but it helps you become more fluent. So Caleb, I'm hoping by the smiley face, that means your tests went well. I think they probably did. So before we go to the actual grammar of past continuous, let's just look kind of at the pronunciation here. A very typical question we would ask for past continuous is, what were you doing? Or, where were you going? But native speakers, we love to shorten everything. So this you, really, we're going to change it. We're going to say ya instead. All right, so this you is going to change into ya. All right, so let's just make this you changes to ya. And if you notice the doing, I've dropped the last G, so we don't need that G. What were you doing? Where were ya going? Where were ya? What were ya? That's a very common way that we would speak in North America. Of course, make sure you are typing or writing it the left side, and then how you speak is on the right side. So today's main lesson, we just reviewed the past tense. Now we're going to focus on past continuous. The past continuous means we're talking about any action that continued in the past. So a second ago, we were doing a past sentence. So I want just to kind of focus on that. Let's imagine that this first X that you see on the screen, this is now. Right? It's the current time right now. It's the present tense. Now, past is talking about one point that happened before. It happened, not now, but in the past, right? It happened before. But again, it's talking about one point. Now, past continuous is different. Past continuous is going to talk about an action in the past. But we're not just talking about one point. We're talking about an action that has continued. So it started in the past and it continued, but it doesn't continue until now. So it does, if you notice, it's finished. It's still finished in the past, but the past continuous is talking about this action that happened in the past. All right. So for instance, you could say, Shelley, what were you doing last night? What were you doing last night? I was sleeping. Where was she this morning? Oh, she was riding the train. That's the action that she was doing. Right now, she's not riding the train. She was riding the train. Right now, I'm not sleeping. I was sleeping. It's a past action. All right, so let's see if you can try. You try here. We've got they something for a test. They something for a test. You need to put, and remember, actually, I didn't go over this, but let's go over it right now. If we're talking about how to make this, we need was or were. So that's the past tense of be. And then we need a verb, but this verb must be the ing. So if you look, I was sleeping. She was riding. So we've got they something something for a test. What would your answer for this be? They something something for a test. I think a lot of people initially, they will see the word test. Right? Like, oh, test, test, test. I got it. We're going to take a test. And that's great. Take a test is perfect. Take a test is perfect. But if you look here, I've got for. I've got the word for here. So in that situation, we cannot say take. We don't take for a test. That's good, Caleb. I'm happy. I'm happy your tests were good. So we're even talking about a test right now. So I'm glad yours went well. So here, because it's for, we can't use take. For is the key preposition here. So in this situation, and Caleb, you just answered it. Perfect. They were studying for a test. They were studying for a test. So again, it's another kind of combination that you have to remember. You take a test, please remember that. But also remember, we study for a test. So it's a little different. We add the preposition there. Perfect answer, Caleb. All right, next, let's look at how we make a question. How do we make the question? We'll have, first WH question. The pattern would be WH, was or were, depending on your subject, which comes next. And then again, ing verb. So what were you doing yesterday? I was studying yesterday. Caleb, what were you doing yesterday? And I know yesterday is a long day. Yesterday would be, like 24 hours. So what were you doing at 9 p.m. yesterday? Everybody, and whoever's watching the live, don't be shy. What were you doing at 9 p.m. yesterday? Anybody watching on the replay, what were you doing at 9 p.m. yesterday? This is a good activity to practice your verbs. You were studying, Caleb. You're always studying. You're always studying. Wow, that's great. All right. Now let's look at the second type of question. The second type of question would be a yes/no question. A yes/no question. It's very important when we have a yes/no question, we always answer yes or no at the beginning. The pattern of a yes/no question will be was, were. So you must choose. Then we have our subject. And then again, verb ing. So we've got the question here. Were you sleeping last night? Were you sleeping last night? Yes, I was. No, I wasn't. Now, of course, we can put more details here. I think there's not enough information. Were you sleeping last night, let's say at 11 p.m.? Were you sleeping last night at 11 p.m.? For myself, no, I was not. No, I wasn't. I was actually doing a live lesson. right, so now we've got how to make the questions. We know how to make the sentences. So let's do our first exercise. The first two will be easy because I'm giving you the verb. I'm giving you the verb. That means you just have to choose was or were and then put an ing on the verb. So number one, the verb is sleep. My subject is I. All right, so there's no choice here. It's super, super easy. I was sleeping last night. Now, just for people who are still a little bit confused, do I choose was or do I choose were? I, he, she, it. These right here. Whenever you see these, please use was. Now, if my subject becomes you, we, they, then we know my verb then becomes were. Okay, I was, he was, she was, it was. You were, we were, they were. Okay, so that's why with I, I'm using was, and we just put the ing there. Perfect, Caleb. I was sleeping last night. Perfect, perfect. All right, B. B. Now, B is a two-part. It's a two-part question. So I've got up here is the question. Down here is the answer. Question and answer. So please be careful when you choose your question and answer. Make sure you look at both in order to know what subject to use. All right, so in the first part, I've given you the verb again, right? The verb is do. The verb is do. So what something do last night at 3 a.m. Then she, and then I don't got a verb in the second part. I just want you to use your imagination, and then you tell me. Now, the key word here is she. Make that straighter, she. The key word here is she. All right, and Caleb, you've got an answer. What were you doing last night at 3 a.m.? She was sleeping. You're almost there. You're almost there. Make sure your subjects match. Make sure your subjects match. The subject for the answer is she. So our question also has to use she. All right, so because we've got she here, we need to put she here. Okay. So my top part here, what was she doing? What was she doing last night at 3 a.m.? Your answer was perfect, Caleb. She was sleeping. I believe you just put another one. Let me check here. Yes, she was studying. You put as well. That's also perfect. Yeah, it could be anything. She was watching a flick. Anybody know what flick means? Flick is kind of an older word. Don't really use it that much, but sometimes we use it. A slang word would be chick flick. Chick flick. Flick means movie. Movie. It's kind of an older word. We don't really use it that much. And the word chick flick is not very PC anymore. So most people probably don't say that word anymore. People get angry. So yeah, make sure we match, right? So if here we've got she because my answer has she. So she and she, they have to match. Okay, let's look at the next one. Number C. He something tennis yesterday. This one's not so difficult, I think, because we're giving you the actual sport here. If you notice, I'm always kind of looking to the left a bit. It's because I want to make sure that my lesson document is actually on the screen. So I can check it on this computer. So I'm just checking to make sure everybody can see the lesson. So this one here, because it's a sport, it's tennis, and it is a sport. The most common, the only verb we would say here, he was playing tennis yesterday. Perfect, Caleb. He was playing tennis yesterday. And the next one is actually of a continuation. We notice it's a question here. It's a question here. So we've got this question mark written. Now, we don't know if it's a WH question. We don't know if it's a yes/no question. How do we check? Let's look at the answer. Starts with he. So we know that this is not yes/no. We know this is not yes/no. So it must be a WH question. Now it's just your choice. What's the WH question? What's the WH word you would use for this? Now, for me, I'll give you the key word. I'm going to just move this little red underline right here. The word with. With is the key word. With is the key word. It tells us the question that we must ask. Whenever you end any question, the last word is with. My question will always be who. Who. All right, so who was he playing tennis with? Who was he playing tennis with? All right, and then the answer here would be he was playing with his dad. We don't need to say tennis again. We've already said it in the question, so we don't need to say it in the answer. So who is he playing tennis with? He was playing with his dad. All right, last one of the exercise, and then we're going to move to the fun part, the application part. Number E, question E. Again, if you notice, it's a question. It's a question. So we have to figure out, is this a WH question or is it a yes/no question? The answer begins with yes. So I know this is a yes/no question. Anytime we have a yes/no question, we're always going to be was, were. Choose between was or were. Choose your subject. And then it's going to be a verb, ing. So let's put that onto the screen. I like this question, Caleb. Were you awake this morning? Were you awake this morning? I like it. Yes, I was. Yes, I was. That's perfect, Caleb. Yes, I was. What's the ending to that? What's the answer? I was eating cereal. Perfect. Perfect. I think this is probably the most difficult one because the main question is not using past continuous. So, were you awake this morning? Yes, I was. I was eating cereal. All right, this is perfect. Another word we can say instead of awake, same meaning. We could say that. Were you up this morning? Were you up this morning? Now, this is how, English is really interesting. Every language is probably the same. In fact, I know it's the same. A lot of times we will speak correctly, grammatically correct in different situations, in formal situations, at work, at school, and even with our friends. But sometimes with our friends, we like to make things a lot more compact, shorter, easier to say. Now, I this morning I actually did this I asked this to a friend. That's the question that I wanted to ask. So I sent him a text message. It was like at 7 a.m. Are you awake? But I didn't write that. I didn't say, are you awake? What I did say was that. You up? Okay. I just got rid of the be verb. I don't say are. I kept you. And then up instead of awake. Now, of course, we're in 2024, the era of the millennials. But even my generation, we like to make even things shorter. You up, if I'm texting to my friends, never to a boss or coworker. If I'm texting to a friend, that's my sentence. You up. So instead of Y-O-U, I'm just going to write the letter U, you up. And of course, sorry, it should be a question mark there. All right, so make sure that, English, we have different varieties and different forms of English depending on the situation. So for me, when I'm with my friends, if I'm talking to my sisters back home, I'm going to speak very casually, using a lot of slang and using a lot of abbreviations like this. So you can do the same as well. Just pick and choose when you use it. All right, let's look now at the last section of today's lesson. We are going to move to the application. The application, it says, what were these people doing? What were these people doing? So what you are going to do is you're going to read the situation, or you're going to listen to me read the situation, and then you're going to make a sentence using the past continuous, was, were, and ing. All right, so let's look at number one. Number one says, friends in a movie theater. What were they doing? All right, so we've got friends plus a movie theater. What were they doing? Okay, we're starting off kind of simple. I don't want to make it too difficult at the beginning. So you got friends, you've got a movie theater. What were they doing? All right, so Caleb, perfect. They were watching a movie. Excellent. Excellent. They were watching a movie. Let's put that onto the screen. Capital T. All right. Excellent. Good job, Caleb. I haven't watched a movie in a long time. in the theater. I've watched a lot of movies at home on Netflix and Amazon and Hulu and Disney, but at the theater, I haven't gone. I'd like to go. I think the last movie I watched at the theater was Top Gun. No, you know what? I watched Wish. I watched the Disney movie. All right, number 2. Let's keep moving. Let's keep pushing along here. Number 2 says Joe. Okay, so we're talking about a guy named Joe. Could be a girl named Joe. Joe is kind of a unisex name. It is 5 a.m. He has just woken up and is in the bathroom. What was he doing? Okay. Typo, I think, Caleb. I think it's just a typo. What was he doing? What was he doing? You've answered every other question right. So I think this is just a typo. Past tense. So he was brushing his teeth. He was brushing his teeth. Perfect, perfect. There you go. Perfect. You even fixed it yourself. Well done. All right, let's get a little bit more difficult now. Let's move a little bit more difficult. I'll leave number 2 on the screen so people watching on the replay or late can understand what we're doing. We're making past continuous sentences. Number 3 said, Sarah is taking a trip to Italy. She needs to plan the trip. She is in front of her computer. What was she doing? Sarah's taking a trip to Italy. She needs to plan the trip. She's in front of her computer, kind of like us right now, or me at least, in front of the computer. What was she doing? Typing. All right, that's good. What else? Can you be more specific, Caleb? She was typing. Let's make it more specific to the trip to Italy. So for me, because she's taking a trip, right? She's going to Italy. Right? So she's going to Italy. She needs to plan this trip. For me, I want you to imagine you are going to Italy. You need to plan for this trip. You're sitting in front of the computer, or you've got your smartphone in your hand, your iPhone in your hand, or you got your iPad in your hand. What are you doing? So we just make the same sentence, but into the past tense. Make sure it's in the past tense. There's so many different answers we could have here. I like, Caleb, I like the one you just put. We just have to make sure it's past tense, not she is booking. I know my situation is written in the present tense, but I just want you to use that information only, but make a past continuous sentence. So she was booking her flight. That's one answer you could say. The one I thought of originally, she's needs to plan the trip. So she was researching things to do in Italy. She was researching things to do in Italy. Another one maybe I would say is she was checking out the sites in Italy. There's so many sentences. Like for me, these are all things I would do. She was figuring out where to eat in Italy. Got so many different answers. So many things she possibly could have been doing. For myself, these are all the things I would be doing. I'd be researching things to do. I would be checking out the sites in Italy, and I would be figuring out where to eat in Italy. So past continuous was ing. So was booking, was researching, was checking out, was figuring out. All right. So these are all things that you should probably remember. Great verbs to talk about when we are planning trips. All right. Number 4. Number 4 says Mike will run a marathon next month. Mike will run a marathon next month. Maybe it's the New York Marathon. Maybe it's the Honolulu Marathon. The Tokyo Marathon was last week. So it's next month. So what was he doing this morning? What was he doing this morning? Oh, there you go, Caleb. Good job. She was booking her flight. Perfect. You've corrected yourself. So Mike will run a marathon next month. What was he doing? Okay, so he was exercising. Yeah, it's a good one. That's a good one. Can you be even more detailed, more specific? What else can we say? Instead of exercising, what's another verb we could say? Another one I would say is he was training. He was training for the marathon. He was getting ready for the marathon. He was running 10K. K means kilometers. There are so many answers we could have. All right, so but it all starts with the very first one here that Caleb said. He was exercising. Right, so he was exercising. There are many ways we can say that. Training, getting ready, jogging, running. All right, good job, Caleb. Nice. All right, we've got a few more to go. So let's keep doing them. Let's look at number 5. Number 5 is a pretty easy one. Number 5 says Joe was on the basketball court with his friends. What were they doing? Joe was on the basketball court with his friends. What were they doing? And Caleb, they were playing. I know that's a typo, so don't worry. They were playing. Yeah. What were they playing? Obviously basketball. So they were playing basketball. They were playing basketball. All right. Fairly easy one there. All right. What about number 6? Number 6 says, it is an extremely hot day. Becky lives in a beach town. What was she doing to keep cool? It's an extremely hot day. Becky lives in a beach town. What was she doing to keep cool this afternoon, this morning? Perfect. That was my answer too. That was what I thought too, Caleb. She was swimming. She bought an ice pop. Okay. Maybe she was eating an ice pop. What ice pop? What is an ice pop where you're from? For us, what we say, if it's the same thing, I don't know if it's the same thing. She was eating a popsicle. She was eating a popsicle. She was drinking a slush, or we could call it a Slurpee. This is very, very North American. America and Canada, we have this drink. It's called a slush or a Slurpee. You can get it at any convenience store or gas station. And it's basically a frozen, it's not a smoothie because a smoothie is healthy. This is kind of like a frozen drink. Imagine if you were to buy like an orange soda, but it's kind of frozen. That's what a slush is. So delicious. All right. Let's do one more together. And then number 8, I will leave for homework. Number 7 is probably the most difficult one. I've given you a lot of the words for number 7, though. And number 8, do number 8 for homework. All right, so number 8, everybody is homework. Number 7, we'll do together. And then we will call it a day. That'll be 2 kind of 1.5 lessons today. So number 7 says, the lawn was getting so long. The lawn was getting so long. What was Craig doing? The lawn was getting so long. What was Craig doing? Caleb, good job. I'm just going to check. I'm just going to fix the spelling on here. So what you're going to say here, I love your answer. He was mowing the lawn. Mowing. So you're almost close with the verb. You put moaning. Moaning means to make a deep sound from your body. Mowing in this situation. Lawn, first of all, lawn. If you don't know what lawn means the grass that is in your front yard or backyard. It's the grass, the green kind of shrubbery, the green thing that's growing in the front yard and backyard. It's called grass. Another word is lawn. So the front lawn, the back lawn. All right, so that means the lawn, the grass was getting long. When it's getting long, we need to cut it. And what we do in North America, and I'm sure every country who has a lot of lawn, we will cut the lawn. But a special word for cutting lawn is mow. Mow the lawn. And so the machine that we use to mow lawns, it's called a lawn mower. A lawn mower, so basically a lawn cutter. Okay, so he was mowing the lawn. Perfect answer, Caleb. Good job. You know, growing up in Canada, that was my job. Every summer, every week, because the lawn would grow very quickly. So every Saturday or Sunday in spring, summer, autumn, I would mow the lawn. Okay, number 8. Number 8 is for homework. Number 8 says, Tiffany got promoted. Tiffany got promoted. Promoted means that at her company, they gave Tiffany a higher position. So that is a very good thing. She got promoted. So her friends want to congratulate her. What were they doing? What were they doing? All right, so for that, give me a answer. That's for homework. So leave it in the comment section after the lesson is done. If you want to answer it now, that's fine. But for anybody who's watching on the replay or who's watching silently right now, you can do this for homework. Leave it in the comment section. I will answer. I will check your grammar and I will correct it if it is wrong. All right. So I'm glad I was able to do a full lesson today. Yesterday's lesson was a little bit short. I love it, Caleb. Throwing her a party. That's a great answer. That's great English. Very, very good English, Caleb. Yeah, it's a great word. Throw a party. But yes, I was very happy to get the whole lesson done today. Yesterday, I was only able to do half. It was a long day. I was tired. And we didn't have many people on live as well. So I wanted to save it for today. If you have any questions, anybody watching on the replay, if you have any questions about today's lesson or past continuous, just ask me in the comment section. Remember, if you enjoyed today's lesson, I do a lot of these. I'll be doing the next lesson tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning, it's Saturday, 8:30 a.m. Japan time. I'll be doing another lesson. I won't be doing a lesson on Sunday. I won't be doing one on Sunday. I don't think. Definitely tomorrow. Sunday, I think I'm pretty busy. I'll try to do one, but right now, Saturday for sure. So make sure you check that out. And if you haven't subscribed, make sure you like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. That would mean a lot. And at this point, if you have any questions, please let me know. Hello, Flower. How are you today? Thank you very much for watching and for the nice comments. Thank you so much. You're welcome, Caleb. So if you have any questions, just fire away. If not, we will call it a lesson. And I will see everybody if they are free tomorrow morning or my time in the morning. If not, I'll see you during the replay. Okay. It looks like we don't have any questions, which is fine. That's great. That means everybody... another test, Caleb. How many tests do you have? What's your next test? What's the next test, Caleb? Why do you have so many tests? Good luck, by the way. Good luck on this test. It's on Monday. What's the subject? Science, math, chemistry, biology, physics, social studies, biochemistry, science. I think I said that. Art. You know, I used to hate art. I loved art class. I used to hate art tests. Well, nevertheless, Caleb, good luck. You've been doing well on all your tests, so safe to say you'll probably do very well on this test as well. And that's on Mondays, right? So you've still got the weekend. So you're not sure, but I think it'll be math and English. Well, if it's English, no problem, because all your answers were great today. So don't worry about that. Math, you'll be fine. You'll be fine with math as well. Just do a bunch of the practice exercises. All right. Well, good luck, Caleb. Thank you, Flower, for the nice comments, and Supergirl as well. And I will see everybody tomorrow morning at 8:30 Japan Standard Time. You are welcome, Caleb. You're very, very welcome. Good luck. You got it. All right, guys. Until tomorrow. See ya.